Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2A of PinkBunny's TWOW of Tiers. Timestamps for different video sections are on the right. Now let's begin. If you recall, the last prompt was, aliens have suddenly slowed the planet's rotation, making days an extra hour long. What results from this? Of the 216 contestants, 189, or 7/8 of them sent in a valid response for this round. Sorry SpongeBob, you are not a contestant in this trial, and you cannot join late. Here are the contestant grids for this episode. If someone's confessional says DNP in square brackets, that means they failed to send in a response by either forgetting to respond or being rejected for whatever reason. Now before we get to voting, how many will promote and demote for each tier? Remember that for this round, the top 18% of responders in every tier will be promoted, while the bottom 49% will be demoted. On top of that, anyone who failed to respond will also automatically be demoted. So, for the 43 in the Sapphire tier, the top 21 responders will stay put, while the bottom 21 will be demoted back to the Emerald tier. One person DNP'd. For the 67 in the Emerald tier, the top 10 responders will be promoted to the Sapphire tier, while the bottom 27 will be demoted to the Citrine tier. 11 people DNP'd. And finally, for the 106 in the Citrine tier, the top 16 responders will be promoted back into the Emerald tier, while the bottom 45 will be demoted even further into the Ruby tier. 15 people DNP'd. Also keep in mind, even though we are handing out promotion and demotion spots based on tiers, all responses are still voted on together to mitigate issues with the amount of votes each gets and revealing which tiers made what responses. Anyways, it's time to vote. But how do you vote? After these instructions, I'll display a bunch of voting screens. Pause on a random screen. Start with an open square bracket. In all caps, type the keyword for the screen that is currently at the top right of the video. Press space, and then rank all the responses on the screen from best to worst, every response represented by the letter to the left of them. The response you think is the absolute best should be the first or leftmost letter, while the response you think is the absolute worst should be the last or rightmost letter. What determines a response's quality is entirely your subjective opinion, as long as you judge them fairly. Make sure that you have ranked every response on the screen exactly once, then end with a closing square bracket, and you're done. Do not comment your vote down below. Instead, to submit your vote, open the voting Google form in the description of this video. Write your vote down in the first box, then your YouTube or Discord account name in the second. If you wrote your Discord name, then DM me, the Pink Bunny Empire, a short message saying that you voted. If you wrote your YouTube account name, do not comment your vote, but rather just comment something along the lines of, I voted. Verify that you have done either of these things, then submit your form to have cast your vote. A few other things about voting. Firstly, you may have noticed these checkmarks to the right of responses. If a response is 10 words or less and follows any round technicals, it will have that checkmark. If it fails either of those, it will instead be a red X. You are encouraged to vote responses with red X's next to them lower. Secondly, you can vote yourself first if you find a response on the screen, as long as you vote every other response fairly from best to worst. Think of this as a personal incentive to vote. You're boosting your score by a few percentage points and making the results data slightly more accurate. Finally, in the description of this video, below the submission form, there is a link to a Google Sheet with even larger screens than the ones in this video, called Mega, Half, and Quarter screens respectively. If you don't know what these are or think you'll struggle voting on larger screens, then you can ignore them. Submit votes for the Mega, Half, and Quarter screens to the Google form as you would any other vote, if you do choose to vote on them. The deadline to vote is approximately 6 days from now, or whatever time is currently on screen. And with that, let's show the video voting screens. I'll see you all next time in 2B.